Hello. Have you ever wished that you responded to your loved ones with more patience? I sure have. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Let me know in the comments if this is something that you've ever wished before. Let me know that I'm not alone. So, today we're going to talk about one common cause of impatience and what you can do about it. We are trying something a little bit different today. Due to popular demand, many people have told me that the longer videos are harder to find the time to watch. Let me just do an audio check, make sure you guys can hear me okay. I do have my mic on. Just want to make sure because I've gone live without it on before. Okay, so I've gotten some feedback that the longer videos are harder to make time to watch. So we're going to do a shorter video. It's going to be a shorter format that focuses in on one very specific tip. So please say hi as you're hopping on, whether you're watching live or in the replay. I love to know that you're there, and let me know how you like the new shorter format, if you feel that it makes the content more accessible and if it's a helpful way for you to view the content. Oh, hey, Charlene, I'm so glad you're here live. Yay. I'm glad you could be here too. Okay, so the patience problem. Here is the core of the problem. We as human beings cannot multitask. Okay, we can't context switch, from one context. Like I'm thinking about, okay, like a computer can multitask, right? They can switch from like working in a word processor to working in a web browser. And that's just something that computers are designed to do. But we only have one processor, we have one brain, and so we can't do that context switching thing. When we're in the wrong context, it is hard for us to respond appropriately. So if you're thinking about, this is something that I notice with myself. If I'm thinking about trying to have a conversation with my husband and my kids are vying for my attention, it's very difficult to get into the right context to respond appropriately to my kids. How many of you have ever experienced this before? Let me know if you have experienced this. Let me know, that you know what I'm feeling here. So what happens is that we're only half listening at best, right? If the kid's talking and we're trying to pay attention to something else, something is going to get missed out on. We're not going to pay the right kind of attention to one or the other or both of those things. We get irritable, and there's at least a part of us that just wants the distraction to go away, right? Like no matter what it takes, just go away. So there's a very common area. Yeah, Charlene, you know how I feel. There's a very common area of our lives where we are distracting ourselves every single day. Can you guys guess what I'm going to talk about? I think some of you probably know. Okay, so that area is our cell phones. Yeah. So there was a study that the researchers at the Boston Medical Center did. It was an observational study. So basically what they did was they went to fast food restaurants and they observed 55 parents and their young children eating at these fast food restaurants. And what they noticed was that of the 55 parents, 40 of them were using a mobile device during the meal. Okay, I've been guilty. We've probably all been guilty of using our phones at a fast food restaurant when we're eating even with friends or family. And what they observed, interestingly, was that the more time the parents interacted with their mobile phones, the more likely the kids were to act out, whether it was to try to get their parents' attention or because the parents weren't, trying to prevent that kind of activity, they were more likely to misbehave. And what was very interesting about this was that not only were the kids more likely to misbehave, but the parents were more likely to respond inappropriately. And we've all been guilty of this, I think. So what they saw was that the parents would yell at the kids. In one case, they saw a parent kick a child's foot for acting out rather than taking the time to engage with the kid, figure out what was actually happening and making sure to have an appropriate response to the situation. So I think the answer here, what is going to be most helpful for us in making sure that we are responding with more patience, responding more appropriately to the people in our lives when the situation calls for it, is to be present wherever we are. Now, I know that's not always possible. Sometimes we have to check our phones. Sometimes we have to be engaged with our digital devices. I mean, that's just the way life is right now. There are tools, right? And sometimes that's what we have to be working with at that moment. But whenever possible, I do aim to be fully present in the moment. And that's something that I suggest 100% and is definitely a huge part of my mission here with Mommy Knows Tech, with our Facebook group, is to get us to be more intentional about the relationship we are spending with our digital devices so that we are having more intentional relationships, responding with more patience and more appropriately to our loved ones around us. So I would like to ask you if you have ever noticed that you are more impatient when you are distracted by your phone. Let me know if you have experienced this. And we'll chat a little more about this week in the Facebook group. I'll have some more questions and discussion ideas for us to go over this. So if you're not in the Facebook group, I'm going to leave a link on the description of this video so that you can join. And I promise this would only be 5 minutes and I'm already up at 6. So I've given you everything here. Let me know, if you've ever felt that you were more distracted by your phone or more impatient when you're distracted by your phone. And again, we'll talk about this more in the Facebook group this week. So hope you all have a great week and that this was a helpful structure for you. And hope you all can go and be more patient with the people that you love. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.